iSARMs.com, the #1 place to learn about SARMs online.
Welcome everyone. Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you, and today's video I want to get into the topic of Dostanex, aka Cabergoline. Now Dostanex is a prolactin inhibitor, and it's a dopamine agonist drug that is used in general medicine, and it's also very, very popular obviously amongst bodybuilders and the anabolic world, which is why I'm bringing the topic to light today. So let's just talk about what it's used for medically generally. It's for males with reduced sperm production, impotency, and low sex drive. So that's generally what it's used for in the normal general medical field. So how exactly does it work? Well, basically it works by sending a message to the body that reduces and or inhibits the rate of prolactin secretion. As I said, it's a prolactin inhibitor. What exactly is prolactin? Because that's, a lot of people don't really understand what prolactin is, and I think a lot of people confuse it with estrogen. And that's not what prolactin is whatsoever. Prolactin actually is a hormone protein that is produced by female mammals when they are breastfeeding their newborn babies. But it also does exist in males, but its only purpose is likely population control, since high prolactin will make a male have a decreased desire for sex. So when a male orgasms, prolactin will temporarily spike during what is called a refractory period. So meanwhile, Dostanex is going to help you keep your prolactin levels very low, and that not only makes the male have an increase in libido, but also gives him a rise in how often he's desiring to have sex in general. So then that leads us to dopamine, and dopamine is a chemical in the brain which basically it sends impulses and forms epinephrine. The chemical will noticeably increase our sexual desires, making us more kind of sexually aggressive. Therefore, our survival needs are not only the aspects ruled by dopamine. So whether the desire that you might have to fulfill a sexual fantasy or something as tiny and small as biting a piece of cheesecake, dopamine gets blasted. So for instance, those that have gambling problems and actually, tend to lose will keep playing because the few times they manage to win, they get that extra rush. It isn't that someone enjoys gambling, but it's what they enjoy that's getting them the rush, and the enjoyment of winning is giving them the rush. If you keep dopamine high, you're always going to feel good. That's basically what it all boils down to. How do you actually use Dostanex, and why, and with what, etc.? Well, what do we know that actually increases prolactin? That would be your nandrolones. So when you're talking about Tren and Deca, anytime you're using Tren and Deca, you're at a major, liability for increasing prolactin throughout. That's probably going to happen. The likelihood is very, very, very high. So Caber is a must. These two especially are going to cause a rise in prolactin, and that's going to cause more side effects. Now generally, if you keep your estrogen levels in check, it can help with prolactin related problems, but it's not going to totally eliminate them. Just because you're using an AI, it does not correlate into anything to do with prolactin in terms of keeping that low. It will help to an extent because the two kind of go hand in hand, but you must protect yourself from prolactin increases. This is just common knowledge. This is what you have to do to stay protected. You're going to run Dostanex along with your AI, preferably Aromacin, which is the superior, but that's a totally different topic. You're going to want to run these two together. Now, you're going to experience low libido and other problems otherwise if you don't. Okay? You're not going to get suppressed from using Dostanex or anything of the sort. But you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of angst and a lot of problems that you're otherwise going to have. A lot of people will use the term decadic. Why do you get that? Well, because you get an increase in prolactin, and it's causing you to get this problem. This is what it comes down to. It's not just the suppression, it's the prolactin. Same thing can occur with Tren. Okay, so you have to be aware of this and you have to take care of it. Now, what's the half-life on this? It's long, 3 days. That's why it's dosed every 3 days. You're going to want to take 0.25 milligrams to 0.5 milligrams every 3 days. when you're running a cycle of nandrolones and using Dostinex to protect yourself. The problem with Dostinex is it's extremely expensive and it's hard to find. You can find it, but you're going to want a pharmaceutical grade of Dostinex, and it's very, very expensive. But if you're going to run a nandrolone, first of all, you don't need many of these. You're taking it every 3 days. So if you're getting 0.5 milligram capsules or tablets of these, you're not going to need a lot. So if you think about it, every 3 days is really twice a week. It's like 2, 3, 2, 3. You're not going to need a lot, but it is expensive. So just be aware of that before you start using a nandrolone. But that's Dostinex for you. That's what it is. That's what it does. It's a must. It is a must. Ancillaries, which if you're not understand the term ancillaries, that is your supports and your protectants each cycle. These are must-haves. You do not run nandrolones without Dostinex. You just don't do it. It only needs to be ran the length of the time you're running the nandrolone. You don't need to stagger it into post-cycle or anything of the sort. It only needs to be ran for that specific time of when you're using those and when the levels could be increasing. Just take care of yourself and do things right and you'll be just fine. Trust me. But if you don't run it, be prepared for several problems. Just be prepared and don't say that you were not warned, because it will happen. I assure you. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.
SARMs.